G'day YouTube, my name's Lance. Welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. Take two. Yeah, look, I just recorded the stew here, and as you know, last week I have the Tascam DR60, and yeah, it just works different to the other one. So the other one, you would start it up, you'd have a look at the front there, and you'd press the button and the light would flash, and that was recording. So this one, you press the button and it says it gets ready for recording, and the light flashes, but then you have to press it the second time and you have a solid red light for it to be recording. And I was sitting here doing the stew, just keeping an eye, and the light was flashing on the record thing, but that was ready to go. So there was a recording on the camera here, but I wanted to do it on the actually on the Tascam. Now I've got it sorted out. But look, first up, the weather report. Look, 9 to 22. It's been well, it's been nice weather. Saturday was windy, quite a breeze coming through. I left the back door here shut. A couple of afternoons last week as well, we had a sneaky breeze coming through. So I'd have the front door facing north open and the southeast door open, but the southwest door, no, that was where the mother-in-law's breath come into it. So we kept that shut. But yeah, look, lovely weather. Yeah, of an evening you've got to put a coat on up the shed there. I've probably got half a dozen coats, but I probably only wear them half a dozen times a year. So I have one that I cop a hiding if I bring it up the shed here and get it dirty. I got another old one I put on, and it's warts and all. It can get as dirty as you like, so there's no worries. But yeah, through the week I haven't had any shed time, well, any tractor time at all really. Just one of those weeks. Brendan next door, that's Grumpy Dave's lad Brendan, he wanted a hand with those ear tags. Now, I don't know what you do overseas, but in Australia, if you go to a concert or country music concert or something like that, part of the merchandise they give you is an ear tag. And people have their Akubra hats, their hats, and they have their ear tags clamped, punched onto them. Pardon me. And it's just a trendy thing. And young Chase, that's Brendan's lad, he's got them on his school port, on his knapsack, and for Becky Cole and things like that. And so Brendan's mate, Dave, Super Dave they call him, he was turning 40. So Brendan had a few of these tags he wanted to burn with the laser, and we burnt them, but we had to slow the laser up just for a little tag. It was taking 11, 12, 13 minutes, and the orange ones burnt the quickest. I could have them down to 9 minutes each, but the green ones, yeah, they were 12 minutes to get what we needed on them. So anyway, so we did 40 of them after work last week. So yeah, I'd come home and then I'd get stuck into it, say 3 or 4 o'clock or something. Then 6:30 of a night, Brendan and Chase had come up, and 6:30 of a night I would send them home. We'd try again the next day. So we ended up getting that done. Grumpy Dave come over with a tomahawk that he needed tidied up, a bit of rust taken off and a handle put on it. So I did that for old Grumpy Dave. And yeah, it was just just one of those weeks. No, I just didn't pick up a spanner on a tractor, just nothing. And look, sometimes that's all right too. It becomes a bit of a job sometimes, and but even though it's a hobby, an enjoyable hobby, it does become a bit of a job. So now and then I need that. So pardon me, a bit of asthma this morning, but that's okay. I seem to get that too. So Saturday, while I was just finishing off Brendan's stuff, ready for the party, I jumped up on the CNC router, and while I was doing some of them through the week, I drew up a pattern for some clamps, to hold the wood onto the CNC bed, because it's all up the woodworking end there. And And it's one of those things, when you're playing with wood and playing with the laser and that, you don't want oil and rubbish on your hands. So if you come down here and get oily, then you go up and grab a board you're making or something and get it fingerprints on. Well, you can't get it out. So you just got to be one end or the other. So I drew up the program, and I use VCarve Pro. So I made these clamps. Now that's an offset clamp. You can see the hole there. And say I've got a bit of board clamped across to the fence there. Well, I can bolt this to my bed and I can turn this around and clamp it in place. And just the friction between them should hold it in place. There's a tag there. I've got to tidy that up yet. But yeah, Plasma Dave thought they looked like an appendage. But anyway, I don't know what he's talking about. But anyway, and there's a toe clamp I made just for the CNC. I put 5mm threads down into the board onto my waste board, so I skim that off reasonably regularly. So there's a toe clamp that I can just put something down and put a bolt anywhere in that slot there to hold something in place if I need to. And there's another one with a flat edge. That's where I pulled it out and stripped the black back a bit. This is form ply. It's 17mm form ply, and it's the stuff they use to make concrete forms. And yeah, Jude got me a bit from downtown. She was downtown Friday, so I said, "Oh, can you grab a little sheet of that, just an offcut?" So for $20, I've got a stack of clamps, and I haven't even half used the board yet. So yeah, so that's a good thing. I didn't sand that up and that, but that was just down the other end while the laser was going. You can press start on the laser, and because you had either 9 or 12, 13 minute cycles, well, you had time to do a bit of drawing and buggering around in the meantime. So that's where I did up that end. Did a bit of CNC in it, and look, it is a nice change. Yeah, it's just a refreshing change. So, pardon me. Busy week at work. Yeah, we had a few meetings and body corporate meetings for the building and things like that. There's a big tree in the corner we're getting removed and things like that. We just nice news. The bloody accountant finished our tax up and all that, and yeah, Jude and I got this nice tax bill. So yeah, we did have a little kitty saved up, and we were adding to it for our trip up to the Cape. But yeah, well, that's all gone now. So we got to start again. So yeah, big tax bill. So anyway, that's how it works. We pay tax on our wages every week, and as everyone else does, you know, your PAYG they call it. So we pay that because, you know, Jude and I, even though we own the company, we're an employee of the company, but then we've got the partnership that owns the real estate, which owns the Tim and Ali's house and the building that we're in at work that we lease back to Queensland Tractor Spares. So yeah, so we've been paying a bit extra off that, and yeah, and the YouTube income from YouTube, we've changed accountants, and the old accountant had it in the wrong place, and so it was getting looked at a certain way, but now it's where it should be. There was a $4,600 bill for YouTube income, so I thought, crikey. Yeah, so there goes me new toys, any new toys, but yeah, and that wasn't even half of it. So there's plenty more tax bill there. So anyway, that's just life, eh? How it is. Keep a few people bloody on welfare and things like that. So yeah, it wasn't for blokes like us, families like Jude and I paying tax. Well, the government would have no bloody money, would they? Us and the wage earners and all that, you know, the backbone. So anyway, that's life. Yeah, you earn it, you got to pay it, I suppose. But yeah, it's a bloody big hit to the pocket, I tell you. But anyway, that's just how it is. So, and you know what'll happen? I'll have this big tax bill to work out, and look, we can pay it. There's no problem with it. But and all my savings will be gone, and a nice little tractor will turn up, and I have to leave it there. That's how it all works. It doesn't matter. Okay. With the sound equipment, yeah, the Tascam I got going, I can't remember what I told you earlier in the early in the stew now. I got Kraft, can't remember a thing. And yeah, the card trouble I was having, like I took the card out of the DR70, the old one, and I put in the DR60 and it wouldn't work. And anyway, it had me buggered, and I had another card at work, a newie, so I put that in, it wouldn't accept it. And anyway, and I was sitting there reading the book and all that, then in the back there was this little page, a separate page that they'd poked into the book that wasn't part of the original printing. And it said, oh, the Tascam DR60 something or other Mark II now has a format function for the SD cards. And you can't format the card on a computer and put it into the Tascam, where the DR70, you could format the sound card on the computer, put it in there and it'll be all clean and ready to rock and roll. And that's what I was doing with the 60, but it said it had a new function. So I found the function in the settings, put the card in, let it format it, and it said no good, card's not formatted, poked it in again, it was formatted fine. So so it's a 64 gig card I've got in there now. I think it's 64. And my old card in the DR70 was a 32, and like a 32, the sound bites for Bundy Bear's shed are quite small. So yeah, look, I had to take some off it a few months back now, but like it probably had 2 or 3 years worth of sound bites on it, the 32 gig one. So this 64, it's going to keep a heap on it for a while. So I think that's sorted now. The Makita battery power bank that I had with the 18 volt Makita that slips into it, the Tascam DR60 will not run on that. It'll run off a Chinese shitbox battery bank, lithium battery bank. It will run on that okay, but there must be a voltage variance here. So, but this will charge phones, it'll charge the battery banks, it'll charge microphones and all that sort of stuff. No worries at all, but it just won't run the Tascam. So yeah, so I'm just not sure what goes on there, but I'll still take it up to the Cape with us and go for a lap, just as a backup power source for phones and things like that. I do have an inverter in the Land Cruiser. It's a 1000 watt inverter with 2000 peak, and that runs laptops and things like that. So off the lithium battery in the back, so that'll be fine. So yeah, we'll just see how it all goes. The Tascam, oh bloody thing. And look, I know it's going to catch me out a few times where the old one, the old TR70, you'd press the button and it'd flash while you were talking. Well, mine does. And then this one here, it flashes when it's getting ready, and then you've got to press it again to start. So that's why I've had to do this is the second chat about the same thing. So it doesn't matter. I should know the story by now. Another little phone holder. I got this a week or two ago and I just didn't show you. And the idea of this one, phone holder, camera holder we'll say, that's just a GoPro 9 on there, and it'll go on a clamp, but by the time that goes out to 60 millimeters and sits on the cruiser bull bar, which is what I had planned, it doesn't clamp good enough to leave it there. So I'm not sure if I didn't show you this a little while back, but so yeah, that and the other ones I should be set up pretty well for just setting the camera in place and away we go. So, but that's all made of aluminium, anodised aluminium, so that should last okay. And you can undo this and it's just a variable head. So did a trip into Trade Tools. Now if you've got a Trade Tools in your area, just get in and buy these. They've got these little drill sets, and they're, look, about 13 bucks. They're on special last week, so I bought a few, and they're just a ripper. They're got a relief point on them, so you don't need a centre punch, and it's 1.52, 2.53, 3.2, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 4.8, 5, 5.5, 6 and 6.5. And these are the drills I'm always using, breaking, whatever, but when we pulled the offices down in in Queensland Tractor Spares, this is getting back a couple of years now, we had to drill out all these pop rivets in the sheeting inside. And one of these drills did the whole shed, the whole lot, just one of them. So they're just a cracker drill. And they seem to stay sharp as buggery, and yeah, but for a good value set of drills, you can't beat it. I went into Trade Tools and I bought a El Cheapo, really El Cheapo set of digital verniers for down the other end for measuring wood, so I don't go, you know, when you can tell the CNC how far to go down and go with that. So so I just bought a set up there for that, and I've got a hose reel up there now. I still have to run an airline across the floor to get up to the wood end, but that's fine. But yeah, now it's just a bit tidier. So while I was up there doing the Brendan stuff for him, helping him out, and I was just doing odd jobs and trying to tidy the whole show up. But yeah, you wouldn't know. I found this little spanner in my stuff the other day. It's a Churchill MF338, made in Great Britain. Yeah, it's obviously for talking something, you know, getting into a diff or something like that. And I can't remember where I got it. But anyway, I was just going through my stuff and I thought, oh, what's that say? Because I did have some John Deere ones like this one time. But anyway, yeah, if you know, tell me. And it's just a point of interest. It would have come from Ledger, so Griffith. So it would have come from the Massey dealership in Griffith back in the day. So yeah, neat little thing. And it was just when I was mucking around with the crow's feet, putting them in the drawer there, I come across this again, and I thought, oh, I wonder what that is for. So it looks like it's probably 1 1/16 or something. I'm just not sure about that. But anyway, we'll see. On this yesterday, no shed work yesterday. I just had no shed work. Yesterday, I've got to try to remember now what I told you in the first stew and what I told you in this stew, so I'm not repeating myself. And but anyway, last Friday, the 26th, Mum turned 87, and she got her licence again. And like in Australia, you have to go and get your eyes tested at an this is once you're over 75, I believe. You got to go to the optometrist and get your eyes tested, where one time the main roads department would just have a look and you'd read the thing on the wall and they'd tick off that you could see, and off you went. And you can have a licence in Australia, and it's got a condition that you must wear glasses or something like that. But she went and got her eyes done. She got one eye playing up a bit. You have to have an injection in it today. And then you got to go to the doctor, and he has to say that your heart and all that's good enough that you can drive. You know, you're safe on the road. So she got her licence again for the next 12 months, but she was saying, you know, it might be the last year she's driving. But she seems no trouble getting around town and going to appointments and coming out here and all that. She seems to be reasonably competent behind the wheel. So yeah, so we'll see if she gets another 12 months or she can have another year after that. Who knows? But she seems to be going well with it, doesn't have any trouble, so we'll just see. But for her 87th birthday, we had a lunch out here yesterday. So Judy and myself, yeah, I'll have to take you up and show you a picture of the... I talk about the pool room, but I don't show you the pool room. And I'll try and take one of the little cameras up and have a little walk around and show you. And so yeah, we got everything out of the pool room, and because we had Freya's birthday and that, and it was a bit of a mess. And that palm I pulled out a couple of weeks ago, and the leaves you leave the door open to let a bit of air in, and all the leaves would blow in because it's only an open shed, really. What I mean. So yeah, we pulled everything out of there and we washed the floor, and we've got these wooden slat chairs, and they have Allen keys holding them together, Allen bolts holding them together. So I tightened all them, and Jude wiped them and re-oiled them, and then got the whole show tidied up a bit so I could cook a roast. We got a ziggy there, and I need to pressure clean this ziggy. It's getting bloody grubby, and yeah, so we put a big roast beef in there, and so yeah, had to start it cooking at 8:30 yesterday morning, and to have it ready for lunchtime. So we had it going nicely. It was cooked beautifully. Stuck the knife in like 8 or 10 places and slid garlic in there, and oh, she was good. That'll keep us going for a day or two. And but yeah, the fireplace in there, it's a steel cabinet with a glass front, and you can put a fire in and, you know, sit there. And Judy and I were in there Saturday evening just watching telly, having dinner, and just sitting near the fire, and yeah, just passing time. And but yeah, the handle on the door had broken, and yeah, Jude comes up with the pieces. I knew it was broken from that other weekend, but I forgot about it. And so anyway, Saturday after, I'm up in my little machine shop, machining up the little roller and the rivet and all that for that, so the door shuts. And I had noticed last time we used it that the door wasn't sealing properly, and a lot of air was leaking in, and the fire was quite fierce, using a lot of wood. And but what was happening is the rivet was slowly bending, breaking, and yeah, it just wasn't sealing properly, so it finally broke. So I had to machine that up and adjust the door, and now we've got it adjusted really well. And you shut the door and it hardly gets enough oxygen. You've got a little slide up the top, so but to just vary the air. And but yeah, we used to keep it all painted up flash with you know, your pot belly black and things like that, but we haven't done it in ages, and it's starting to rust on the top and all that. So Jude said, oh well, you know, can we have a look at that? So yeah, all right. So I might even look at some of that today, so it's got time to dry for a few days before we use it again. And the other job on the go for today, see, I probably won't even get in the shed today, is the clothesline up the back there. Now we've got a Hills hoist, and this Hills hoist, we bought it second hand out of someone's backyard and knocked the concrete off the bottom of it years ago. And when we moved out here, and we've had it cemented in the ground here for 20 years now, and like, it was old when we bought it, but we just serviced it up and put it in, and it's just been a good thing. But a few years back now, the winder seized up a bit, and Jude told me about it, and she said, oh, it doesn't matter though, because she said it seems to be at a nice height, and it just turns there at a nice height. And so yeah, if I didn't have to do it, I didn't. So she mentioned it the other evening, and yesterday afternoon she said, can you come and have a look at this clothesline please? So off I go, has a look, and she says, when I go to turn it to put the clothes on it, it's got a hard spot in it and just doesn't want to turn. So, oh, all right. So we're having a turn, and I was turning it one way, and I said, oh, you notice it's, as we turn it, it's rising, you know, it's going up the thread. And she said, yeah, it didn't normally do that, it just used to turn. So, but she said, go back the other way, there was a hard spot, and went back the other way, and no hard spot. And I thought, oh, it doesn't seem too bad. And as we turned it, next thing, bang, the whole thing just dropped onto the, yeah, it was up so far, and it just went bang and dropped down to its lowest setting. So now it's about this high. And so I've got to pull the gearbox apart now. They have a winding handle with a, I think ours is old enough to have a cast gear, then another cast gear, but what's in there, because I didn't fix it earlier in the piece, who knows. But it's that low now that I was like, if she hangs sheets of that on it, they'll be that close to the ground, they'll be dragging on the lawn. So I said, no worries, you just got to wear shorts for a while so your longs don't drag. So look, today I'll have to get a bit of CRC, penetrate onto those bolts. The bolts going through holding the alloy in the gearbox, I've never noticed that before, but they, the heads are just about rusted off them. So I'm going to have a bit of a time of that today, but I'll take a camera for a bit of a walk after the stew here and have a bit of a look around. And I'll give you a bit of a look at it. But I do have some Worth sockets here that have got like a spiral in them, and they'll grab a buggered nut, and I'll see. But I'm a bit worried that when I split the gearbox, the whole top's going to want to fall off and knock my ass overhead. So anyway, save someone else doing it. We'll have to see. So yeah, first up this morning, Jude says, oh, well, it's not that urgent, the clothesline, but she said, you know, because I said, oh, she said, what are you up to today? Up the shed. And I said, oh, I think I better have a look at that clothesline. She says, oh, well, it's sort of working. But anyway, I better go and have a look and see. there's a Hills clothes hoist website for parts, but it's got gears and that in it, but it's got replacement gear sets, but it says not for the classic, I think they call it classic version, that had cast iron gears in it. So whether we have cast iron gears or not, I don't know, but Jude was saying if it doesn't wind up and down, she never used that anyway, that's why it's seized. But if we can just set a height, so I may even be able to just turn up a sleeve and sit in there and leave it at one height or something like that. But I better deal with that if I want my work pants washed. And we'll see how we go from there. So yeah, whether I get up the back to play tractors again, I highly doubt it today. By the time I have a look at the fireplace for her and do the other. So anyway, that's all right. We'll get there. You got to really, I do very little work down around the house there. Yeah, it's sort of I don't spend a lot of time doing maintenance, but I've got it in my mind like the fence needs painting and things like that, and I keep saying, well, as soon as I retire, that'll be, I'll work that into the system. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how we go. So look, that's all for the stew. Yeah, nothing else happened really, not much in the shed. I will go handheld and we'll go for a bit of a walkabout up the front there, and I'll show you the pool room and things like that. The TE20's out the front. I did a carby for a bloke in Maryborough, and he got onto me and he said, oh, it only ever runs flat out, with the choke on. And I've got him to have a look at manifold gaskets and all that, and yeah, he reckons everything's fine. So he said, would you mind if I sent it back and you can have another look? And I said, yeah, look, and it's one of those jobs, look, it was probably 12 months since I did it, and then we conversed a bit quite a long time ago about it, but then he got busy and he hadn't touched it for 8 or 9 months or something, and then the other day he's back into it and he said to me, can he send it up for me to have a look? And I said, yep, no worries at all. So I like to back up what I do. So he sent it up. I bolted it on the little TEA out the front here, and runs like a clock. So he's got an air leak somewhere or something, I don't know. So we've sent it back, no charge, and hopefully he gets it sorted out. I'd like to know what it is when he gets on top of it. An interesting story about the TEA20 there. I've got a blade on the back, and the blade's too heavy for it. It's quite light on the front, but that's fine. And when we first put the blade on, and me and Paul were buggering around out the back here near the carport, the carport got certified. I got the certification letters through. So we're all approved, finished, done. So beautiful. And I was noticing with it had a bit of a hydraulic rattle in it, and I put a whole Sparex kit through it. And as I was driving it along, I reckon it was getting noisier, and it's knock, 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 driving along, and I was thinking, God, surely that pump shouldn't be that bloody noisy. And because I know I did it properly, it works great, holds pressure well, does the whole works, and it even holds that big blade up. And it slowly creeps down, but it's a good thing. But yeah, and I was getting worried. I thought, well, I didn't do the gearbox in that when I did the video series on the TEA, the playlist, and I haven't done the axles and the brakes, and I probably should do the brakes. The brakes are rubbish. And but I sort of thought I'd check the oil, and on the dipstick that's in it, there's a high, medium, low. So you got a high mark, then an add mark, then a low, and it was halfway. It was on the add, and I thought, oh, I had plenty of oil in it, but I thought it was near the front there, and I thought, oh, bugger it, I'll top it up to the correct level. I got the drum's just there. I was just being lazy if I didn't do it. So I put 3-4 litres of oil in it and brought it up to the mark, quiet as a mouse. I could not believe the difference that oil made. And it was just rattling. They all rattle a bit. You lift the T20s up and they rattle, rattle, rattle. They do rattle a bit. But this was just noisy, and it was way worse when I was driving along. And just by putting the LSA 1540 farm oil is what I used, just by topping it up a couple of litres, the noise went away. Look, it's a quiet pump. So I couldn't believe the difference it made. Camera just timed out again. But yeah, I could not believe the difference that oil made to the TEA20. So I'm going to pull the side cover off now, see what the level is as compared with, you have a circle and it's got a little flat piece on the bottom. And just to check that I've got the correct dipstick in it. But I can't remember back in the day when I filled it up, whether I filled it with a measured amount or I just went by the dipstick. But yeah, so what's going to happen? I've still got it out the front there. I'm going to pull the side cover off. The oil level in those TE20s, when you take the side cover off, you've got to put the bottom bolt back in because it pisses oil out. And then you have like a flat piece instead of being a full circle in the gearbox housing itself. It's got a flat, and the oil's just under that flat normally. So I'm going to check what the dipstick says to where that mark is, because I just couldn't believe that 3 or 4 litres of oil would just shut it up like that. So I'm thinking it must have been really low, and the dipstick might be the wrong dipstick. So yeah, we'll just see how that goes. I'll go and have a look at the other T20s outside and check their dipsticks, and the Howard reduction tractor and the TEF20 and I've got the old TED, the barn find out the back there, and I'll have a look at their dipsticks and compare them and just see, because I was just blown away at the difference it made. So anyway, but look, that'll do for this week. Thanks for dropping by. There's a couple of tack-on videos, no doubt, and we'll catch you all next week. And as Barry says, thanks for your time. See yous. Okay. For those who hear me talking about the pool room, well, this is it. So the house is here. I got the ute up there so I can fix the clothesline. I got my guard dog down here. But I've got to look at that clothesline out the back. But yeah, this is the pool room, what we call the pool room. And look, it's just a 6 metre by 6 metre double garage. We've got an apron out the front with some pool fencing on, so we can sit here, entertain, have a beer, do whatever we like, and the dogs can't get out, or kids can't get out, little kids can't get out. You can see the clamps on here. I just put them on about a month ago. This panel here, when we have parties and things like that in the front yard here, we pull that panel out, so there's a gateway to we entertain. If we have a big do, we entertain in the front yard here, put up some gazebos and do that. So we open up that panel there. So I've got some hinges there now, so we're actually looking at making that permanently swinging gate rather than pull it out each time, because the bolts in that centre pole there, the threads are gone. So yeah, the pool room is just a 6x6 garage. That's the fireplace. You can see the rusts on it there. That's the job that's coming up. You can see the wood. Oh yes, you can see the wood pile there. I need to go and get a bit more. You can see my shadow there. We just have a table where we entertain. We have a Ziggy barbecue over in the corner there. And we have a pool table with a cover on it, and what we tend to do if we're having meals or entertaining here, we put that cover on, and then we use the pool table as a servery. So it gets a cover and wooden boards and that to protect from heat and things like that. So I've got books and that sitting up there. Famous Bundaberg rum distilling company, flag, a beer fridge. A pot there with some cold water for the kids. I think that's a 60, I don't know, perhaps 65-inch TV up there. And just a few knickknacks, a dartboard and things like that. A couple of LED lights up the top there. Now the iron, you can see on the outside of the shed it's got this trim deck, that sort of iron. And inside, the camera's got to adjust again, I've got corrugated iron. Now I got onto the fella, I sort of knew the fella that had the contract for pulling the old Quinaba sugar mill apart, and so this is original iron off the Quinaba sugar mill. So anyway, that's just the pool room. Over the next few days, where are we? Oh, that's looking bright there now. Over the next few days I've got to get into there, and I'll just go around the front and show you this catch. Okay, now this is the catch. So yeah, the catch has got a little, well, you can't see it because of the too much brightness for the sun. Yeah, there's a little roller there. So that rivet in the centre, I had to make that so it catches there nicely now. And you can see the top is quite rusty, so that's the job coming up. We have a kettle there. Now we leave a kettle with water on it, bubbling away just gently on a trivet on there, and that gives us a cup of tea if we feel like it, or a coffee, and there's the pot belly black ready to go. So that may be today's job, I just don't know. The screen over the back that we have there for when the young ones are here, it needs a paint too, so yeah, look, we'll just see. But anyway, that's the pool room.